So yeah, so this was obviously a VOD from me kind of navigating you a little bit. So what we're gonna do in the review is we're basically just gonna go over kind of why we did what we did. And also on top of that, like what we could have done or something that maybe I discussed in game and we didn't have time to go over. So it's just a way we can kind of break it down. So, firstly, obviously, just make sure this is hidden, just because it was kind of obscuring your lane a little bit. But the next thing is, if, say, for example, you're in a lane that's quite rough for you, you can actually leave at like 0135-ish. You've already given them 3 auto attacks or so, and then get to the lane. Now, if you feel like being generous and giving them a generous leash, generous is usually about 139. So if you're not kind of, say, running away when you're finishing it, then, just kind of leave there. So let me just get this pen open. Yeah, so if, say, for example, you're here and he's kited to here, you can obviously throw one more auto, but as long as it's on your kind of path.
Yeah.
Right, so, because here we stay for quite a while, I think. Yeah, so it's 139 and we're still hitting it,
Yeah, I generally was basing it off of when the ADC leaves.
Yeah, no, because so one of the big downsides to this and what will actually happen a lot is now look what's happened. They've just arrived in this lane, right? So they're already here and they're already doing damage to these minions, which means now you've both pulled, but because they didn't pull as long as you, now they have an advantage. Now what can also happen here, and what you should be looking for when you enter a lane, is to get as an aggressive point as you can in the lane, just to kind of hold it down. So for example here, this is your goal. If you can get inside this brush, it gives you the ability to harass a Samira with autos, and then say for example if we got here earlier and she say goes to auto all of these minions and we can auto her 3 times there, that's a huge amount of damage, and we can also proc our electrocute off her. Okay. So it's kind of like a case of if you can get this initial aggression, she's then going to be more scared to farm minions in the future, but you're also going to be able to make a few more mistakes and they're not going to punish you because they're scared of what you'll actually do to them, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like you get a bit of a mental advantage, because what's happening now is this Jhin has actually just walked up to these minions and, he's just started farming, which it seems okay because he doesn't get punished, right? Whereas if, say, for example, we'll pause it in a second. So right here, this Jhin is up here already, and we're all the way back here. Now, granted, they're also back here, but we're not really going to take that into consideration. What happens now if they jump on Jhin is you have to walk up in range before you can even do anything. So because you kind of have to walk up in range before you can even do anything, it puts you in a position where they can put damage into your Jhin, and you can't really respond with that damage early into the lane. So you kind of give away a lot of pressure. So you always want to kind of try and be parallel with your ADC, but you also want to try and be away from their support at the same time. So this is known as tethering. So it's when, say for example, if she's here, you're down here. If she moves here, you move here. To just kind of avoid her until you have abilities to use on her, and then you can. Now, obviously it is a Sona, and she's very squishy, so you can get really good trades off anyway, but if you're into a different kind of support that can potentially maybe engage on you, you want to try and get that distance as much as possible. Say you're against, say, a Leona, that's where it's really important that you tether away from her, because if she gets on you, you're probably going to die, especially when she's got level 3. So kind of just how we're positioning in this lane is kind of important, just because we're losing a lot of pressure by not kind of stepping into a position where we can do anything.
Okay.
And now here, see, we had to use a ward on this brush, but yeah, so you want to try and kind of get some autos off outside of the lane or the bush. So here you can walk out of the brush, auto her, and then you can go back in the brush.
That way the minions lose target.
Yeah, because right now, as soon as you auto out of a brush, they can see inside that brush because they get vision of you. So yeah, so as soon as you auto, that's kind of thing. So we kind of want to come out of the brush, auto, in the brush, out, auto, or even Qs. You can stack up a stun just by queuing them, like auto Q, back out, auto Q, and then you'll have your stun up, and then you'll have also chunked them out quite heavily. So
Yeah.
okay, so it kind of stagnates for a little bit, and then
right.
yeah, she actually managed to get in range to hit you here, which is a little thing because I'm not sure if they've actually used a ward in this brush. So even there, like we could also auto and then Q, or if you can Q and then auto because your auto range is longer than your Q. So it means if you get into Q range as they run away, you'll still be able to auto.
Range,
yeah.
Okay.
So now the Sona.
I didn't even notice that whiff.
Yeah. So now the Sona is also super low HP, so you can play a little bit more aggressive here as well. Especially since Samira wants to go for this cannon. So what we actually want to do is, when this cannon's dropping low, that's when we want to look to do damage on Sona, because then if the Samira does damage back to us, she might miss the cannon, or if she hits a cannon, we don't get damaged as much.
So we make her have to choose.
Yeah, it's all about just kind of a game of like choices and trades. So it's like, yes, she can get the cannon, but she's gonna have to use HP for it. Which it's like, if you can learn that to like a really good level, it makes playing support so much easier. Because you're basically a mage that is supportive, like you're in this lane to kill, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm a mid laner who is supporting.
Yeah, pretty much. It's referred to as a kill lane. So here we've got our stun. And we were just waiting on 3.
And I used to play Warwick and used to know that. How does Warwick's vision work when he has the bloodlust thing?
So he can't actually see you, but he can see a blood trail that leads directly to you.
Okay.
So if you've got that mark on you, it means he can see exactly where you are.
Well, he can see how to get to you.
Yeah. Well, but at the end of the trail, you can see the end of the trail. And it also has like a little pool of blood as well.
Alright, so you can see where they are, but you have to pay attention.
Yeah. And I mean, it's on like if you want to use it before they're low HP, it's like a 50-second cooldown. It's really big.
Yeah.
But
it's more of a you're about to go in kind of thing.
Yeah, it's okay.
Right here is where you probably said I should have warded up.
Yeah, so around the 3 minutes mark, as soon as we have this wave pushing in, I mean, it's a little later now, but at around this kind of 3 or so minutes, it means that they're going to be in bot side. I can't remember who their jungler was this game. Warwick, okay, yeah, so Warwick's clear isn't the fastest, but it's definitely not the slowest either. So at this point, we should have gone to ward. We do see him on mid anyway, but we should have had a ward before that either way.
Yeah.
Just because, yeah, that 3 minute mark is where things will start happening.
And I probably could have also predicted he was going to be coming down here. Because he what happens right here if I was actually watching.
Another thing of support as well, make sure that you know kind of the early game junglers, because they can come as early as like 2 minutes 40. So there's options like Xin Zhao, Lee Sin, even Zac, anybody that can like level 2 gank.
Yeah.
Jarvan as well. So yeah, so this is where he actually comes and he kills you. So we'll skip past this part. So yeah, so now, so right here, this is kind of a thing with support where you just don't walk up at all. So what do you think is going to happen? Actually, this is with any role, it's not just support, my bad. So what do you think is actually going to happen in this lane right now? Like, what are these minions telling you? What picture is being painted here?
They're pushing the lane.
Okay, so how do we know that?
Large amount of minions attack. They're attacking while the minions aren't on last hit.
Yeah. Also, they've got a cannon too, so that does substantial damage as well, and has a lot of HP. So this is pushing in. Now, because of how many casters they actually have here, there's no way that our casters are going to be able to kill a single minion. So right here, we just don't need to walk up. We can literally just go and sit by this tower. We're not really going to lose anything. But then we don't also lose HP, and we can then start, claiming some on the tower or doing things. So here we're like going for a trade when we can't. There's no benefit to us trading there. It's basically just a waste of mana, to be fair. And here, this is also a window where we can't trade because now this Jin needs to farm this wave. So we can maybe get a few autos here or there and try and punish them back and give the Jin some space and like room to breathe. But overall, we can't really trade here, especially like we did here. We just have to try and just let Jin farm this up before we can obviously reset.
Yeah.
So the only thing with this back is it's a very aggressive back just because we don't actually have a control ward. So yeah, this is where we got in the lane. So this is actually where, obviously I know we started going on about camera control in one of our previous sessions, which I think, were you playing on unlocked cam before? I can't remember. Either way.
I think I started to, yeah.
Yeah. So this is kind of like a progression. Now I do think your camera control from like now compared to previous sessions is much better. But there's still like some really, really big mistakes, right? So like, for example, here, we don't even have the Jin on our screen right now. So we can look at the minimap to see what the Jin wants to do. But that's not really what we want to be doing, right? We want to be looking at them. So we can maybe get another trade-off, maybe another fight, or, you know, try and help him. So again, making sure that we spam our E and our W a little bit, just as we get to lane. Especially if we're walking into a fight, just so that we can have stun up straight away. Also use them on the base as well. So when you're on base, you know, use them before you leave. So you get the mana back and you still get the stacks. And then here, so this actually worked out because Samira hit a minion. But yeah, this would have been a much cleaner fight if we had that stun up. But we do manage to get them both. Now, one thing to be wary of as well is if you know you're having an all-out fight like that and you're just going all in, ignite the Samira early. Because if, say, for example, a Sona heals her, if she's got healing in her runes, if she's got Doran's Blade, yeah, or even if she pops a potion, if we ignite her, we're going to reduce all of those by 60%. So if, say, for example, she pops a potion mid-fight, it's not going to do as much, and it might save you 1, 2, maybe even 3 auto attacks in that fight, which, you know, can completely change the fight.
I probably should have put that ward a little higher.
Yeah, so this is kind of a ward where if we actually go to push this out, it doesn't matter if we ward or not, we'll die to Warwick. So since we already commit to it, don't waste time going and getting that ward. Instead, just clear the minion wave.
Okay.
Like, because if the Warwick comes now, you're both going to die anyway.
Alright.
But Jin does want to fix the wave. So it's kind of like we're putting a ward down, and now who is that ward protecting? We're going to base for 30 or so seconds. So that's 30 seconds off a ward that we don't benefit from. But yeah, so this is where we said to pick up a control ward. Now, you don't want to go too crazy on control wards because you're playing a damage dealer until like mid to late game. That's when you have to kind of just get more. But you do always want to get one and just put it just on that edge like we discussed so that you can... you know, you have vision.
Just when the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, and it's vision denial as well. Now, this was a little kind of bit off with camera as well. Now, they shouldn't have been there, but we weren't even looking. We didn't even know that was happening. So making sure that you just check the minimap a little bit more just to kind of see how it goes. So kind of see how much you check it. Like, and if you're checking it...
saying they were going to.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're checking it every, say, 10 seconds, say this week... or these few days, I'm going to get that down to 9 seconds. And then once it's down to 9, you progress until you're at between 3 to 5 seconds. That's kind of like a good point. And then you progress to just looking at it whenever you can, which is a little bit more complex, so we won't cover that yet. But yeah, and then here, yeah, we just don't really want to walk up, which we didn't. We managed to get a kill here, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So this was good. Another thing as well, I did notice it on your last back. As soon as you're getting close to completing your support item, get Sweeper straight away. Now you can also get Sweeper earlier too, but roam timings and stuff will go on about a little bit later. But you can also buy it before. And because we've got Zombie Ward, we can go and clear vision out and then also grant ourselves vision. So it allows you to take Sweeper really early into the game, which then helps your jungler a lot, which in turn helps your lane a lot. You know.
Okay. Yep.
So this was I think this is where we walked up a little too far. So right here, one thing you also need to track is your XP. Because we can tell here, okay, we're going to get level 6 soon, but they're also going to get level 6 soon and they've got way more HP. So right here, we back out because even if we get 6, we still can't win this fight. So we just back out, play it safe, get this wave of CS, pretty much. So unfortunately, we did die there, but Daxiel's always a good pickup on support. I mean, it does delay your main items a little bit, but you're in this lane to get kills. And if you're not getting those kills, then there's things you can do different, you know? Which again, I think with you, it's just a lot about kind of aggression in lane so far. Making sure we're just kind of understanding when we can and can't. Because look at this damage that we do here. Actually, I did want to look at this combo. So what did we do here?
Anything I did here was an accident.
Yeah, so we stunned her and then Tibbers came down. It wasn't too bad. I mean, we get the sonar out of the way and then we can burst the...
I intentionally moved back just enough to get Tibbers back to warp back.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't going to catch her.
So that's fine. But here, just make sure, again, you just ignite earlier. And then that's fine. And then right there, you can keep chasing her down, but you have to chase her down straight away. Your E is going to come up. So you can basically chase her down. So you just E, and then as soon as she walks up, you just insta WQ the bush. Or QW, as soon as you see her. We do also have a normal ward here as well, which we could have used in the rush. Actually, she was sweeping it, was she? Oh no, we use it late. So yeah, here, when you're walking up to this, walk up to this edge, ward, and then walk in.
Okay.
Because she got to see you before you got to see her, and that's why she ended up killing you. And again, we got our boots now. Huge buy because our base damage is really good. So yeah, this was the play where we kind of...
This part turned out good.
Yeah, the cat arena ended up cleaning up, right?
Yeah.
So one of the problems here is that we didn't have our stacks.
I accidentally Q'd and then I tapped Q and then before it went off I hit R.
Yeah. So we didn't actually get like the big stun off. We still stunned Warwick, but we could have played that a bit better. Like multi-stuns with your ult is huge on Annie, especially when you've got flash. Like you can literally just wait till they all come together and then flash ult. And it will almost always be good as long as like they're not just completely hard stomping. Like it's like basically a game-changing ultimate.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an Amumu and Louis though. So yeah, so this point now, obviously the cat arena is very fed.
And just learning where to place these wards, really.
Yeah, so this is... Yeah, so one of the things you always want to take into consideration with wards is how much area can I cover with as little wards as possible.
Yeah, because you only have so many.
Yeah. Now, also Annie's really good at the minute due to the wardstone changes too. It means if you can start snowballing in lane, it gets Medjai's wardstone, and Rabadon's even, like, you end up ridiculously strong. You could do more damage than their mid laner. So yeah, so when we're looking at vision, we're looking at areas where we can cover a lot. Now your control ward always kind of has to go in an area where it's not going to be taken straight away, because when it comes to a control ward, you buy a control ward to control an area. But if they can easily just walk up and clear away that vision, then you don't actually have control of that area, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when you're putting your control wards down, obviously the obvious answers are on objectives, which is obviously really nice. Now, if nobody else puts down a control ward, at least if you got one on an objective, that's great, because you can just sweep the area around and get rid of any normal wards as well. And then you know there's not in here because you've got a control ward in there. Now, when it comes to kind of preparing for objectives, your wards really want to go in kind of places where they're concealed. So like here's good. You can either put it here or you can put it here. Both are good. You can also put it in the middle, but then you don't get vision of this area. You do get vision of here still though, but they can sneak past it. So yeah, okay. Any of those are good. They're all just really good ward spots. I personally like this one at the edge. Earlier into the game, because it gives you a bit of vision on their red buff. If, say, for example, they're clearing it, say they come up like this and they're clearing it, you'll see them like here.
And it's a little bit less good on the fire map.
On Infernal,
Yeah, because it opens
This
those up.
bush stays on.
No, because it opens up the buff a bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Obviously. Oh yeah, you mean when these take away?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, so control ward, it depends on the game state. If you're looking to try and find them on red buff, you can put it there. If you're looking to see them earlier as they come to Baron, you can put it here. This brush doesn't really get checked that often. You can also obviously go, here is okay if you've got constant mid pressure, because they'll never be able to get it and it gets rid of flanks. Here is okay too. And now obviously this is mirrored, so any here are also identical here.
Yeah.
So there's also kind of this spot that's good for a control ward, but overall with your normal wards you want to just try and cover as many areas. So like bump, and then here all of a sudden you've got all of this area covered.
Yeah,
so
and if
right,
people are watching their map, it will give them a pretty good.
yeah, because if they walk this way, like the only way they can come now is down here. So what you could even do is if you had CJ mid, you could even put like a control ward here, and then these 3 normal wards, and you're just completely safe to siege, because the only place they can be is this side of the jungle. So if they come up, you can just run up like this, and all of a sudden you know that nobody's there and you're completely fine. You also know that if you sweep this area, they don't have wards either, so you can also then sit in a brush. Or another thing you can do is, for example, if say they're coming to an objective, so Baron, we could also put, say, a control ward here, a normal ward here, for example, normal here, and then we just sit in this brush. And as soon as they walk up to this control ward, we can just jump on them. Or we can sit here and just wait for them to come, and then we can kill them. So then what you end up is a situation where they have to, if they've got no vision, they have to walk up, be scared, ward this, and then okay, they're good. And now they have to walk up, be scared, ward this, and then back away. And then all of a sudden, you've just got yourself an extra 10 to 20 seconds of Baron time because of how much they're being careful. Especially if they're not grouped as 5 instantly, and that time can literally secure the objective.
And if they're not being careful, you can then punish them for it.
Yeah, so if they get like sloppy, they just die, and then you get the Baron anyway. It's exact same kind of concept on the bottom side. It works exactly the same. So... yeah, exactly the same. Just because, you know, they'll have to walk into this brush, be scared.
Where are some good blue buff locations?
Blue, what, if you want to ward blue buff?
Yes, if I wanted that side warded.
Okay, so this way, a really good way is you can just go, maybe control ward here. So this is a good control ward spot. You also have, you can go like this, and then even... Well, actually, this gives you a ton of vision early into the game anyway, just these 2 spots. But one thing that I do sometimes is I'll ward here too, if I can actually get there, just because then it gives a lot of information. And it doesn't really get cleared that much. So these are kind of like pretty good spots, but obviously then you've got like here's good. You can also just ward directly on the camps. Like say, for example, if their jungle is completely behind, you can even just put like a pink ward here, and as soon as they go to clear it, you just kill them. Or if they go to clear it, you do Baron. You know, so those are like good spots too. I mean, as long as your wards aren't like overlapping, then they're usually going to be kind of good. Like one of the worst things some people do is they'll like do like a ward here and then a ward here at the same time, and it's just kind of like it's giving no more information. But
you'd really only want to do that if the other one's about to expire.
Yeah. Now, one of the good things about this as well is if you can actually start warding up the jungle more consistently, you basically get global information on where the jungler is. Because say, for example, we have all this side warded. And so say also we have a ward here. Just because sometimes these wards won't reveal them on this, because they might go like this. And then all of a sudden we might think they're bot side when they're on this camp, you know? So say we've got these wards down too. Then... it just kind of restricts them massively. And what we can also do is if they're not showing on this vision, then they can only be here. So it's like, if they're showing on our vision, we know where they are. If they're not showing on our vision and our vision is good, then we still know where they are.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So
what exactly does Sweeper do?
So it reveals any in like wards, invisible units such as Shaco or Timo, like an Akali. It kind of shows where things that are stealth are. So, like, say for example, if you go through the jungle and you sweep it all, it'll reveal where all their wards are, which is really good for you because zombie ward is completely busted. It's such a good rune. So every time you clear one of their wards with your sweeper, you also get a ward. So it's to basically deny them any vision that they have, and to make sure we know they don't have any wards, or to just really get rid of. I mean, you can also use it to kind of like, say for example, you're coming for a gank, you could sweep the brush, and then you know if they're dead or not. If say we sweep the brush and there's no vision, then that means that we can just stay there a little bit, wait for them to say walk up to a minion, and then we can go. If that makes sense. So it can be used aggressively as well for roams or ways to punish the enemy too. So
okay, and then what? The little eyeball icon that I see above words sometimes.
it means that they've been revealed.
Okay, so they have been revealed at some point.
Yeah. So say for example, if they use the blue cone and they see your ward, like they can just go and just clear it away. It gives a vision of all wards. So that's why the blue cone's really good too. Like you can use it for your lane as well to just sweep away, and or if you're coming for a gank. But you do have to be careful because when you pop it, they can see it on the minimap. So if they're looking at their minimap at the time and you pop it like this, they're going to see you pop it like this, and they're going to be like, oh, well, I'm getting ganked. So, you know, it's a little bit thingy. But, right then. So, let's go back into this. So, yeah, warding is very difficult, don't get me wrong. But it's very rewarding. And as a support, it's really good to know.
Yeah, that eyeball icon up there. Actually, just hop back there a second. On my top ward.
Oh, wait, this little coloured one?
Yes.
Oh, that's just what type of ward it is, sorry.
Okay.
So this one is a control ward, so it's red. The next one will be a normal ward, so it'll be yellow, green.
Okay.
Green, yeah.
Looks yellow to me.
Yeah, so it doesn't really change that much.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was wondering about.
And then if it's yellow, it's stealth.
Okay.
Right, so yeah, this we kind of played a little bit messy. So again, we just want to use our ability a little bit earlier to get that stun. Actually, it was okay here. But then the ignite early. Like, Aurelia is a champion that is known for healing a substantial amount. So even if we ignite her here, it's good. Because we'll kill her. Otherwise, she'll just heal up all her HP. Or survive long enough. See how much she was healing there. So it was only because we ignited her at the end that we managed to kill her. So yeah, try to not see ignite as like a tool to finish somebody off. But I mean, it's 60% Grievous wins. So that is huge, especially in early laning, if you know you're going to go all in them and kill them.
And Grievous Wounds just prevents that much healing.
Yeah, 60% healing to the user. Ignite does give more. Usually items give less, unless they're fully upgraded.
Yeah, like Morel.
Yeah. The Oblivion Orb gives less than the Morellonomicon.
Was Morel always built with Oblivion Orb?
Yeah, but the Oblivion Orb used to give Magic Pen.
Okay, I was going to say, because I don't remember that having that.
No, it didn't give Grievous Wounds before. It just gave a ton of Magic Pen, which was really nice. It's really good rush because you could... so most champions have 32... So roughly 32 magic resist base. So with obviously Soul Boots giving 18 and the Old Oblivion Orb, you could pretty much get to 32 with just those items.
Okay.
So it'd mean that you could basically do true damage, full damage with all your abilities because they have no MR, which lower amounts of MR actually equate to more, because if say you have 100 MR compared to 25, it doesn't directly convert. You'll start getting less resistance to magic damage as you build more MR. Not less overall, but you know what I mean. Like, it gives less returns. Yeah, diminishing returns, yeah. So yeah, so that was that. So yeah, so we went over a lot of things with kind of like wording and stuff on this one. But yeah, so we'll leave this VOD for now. We'll jump on to the next. And then what I'll do is I'll upload this VOD to YouTube at a later point as well, so you can watch back over it.
Okay.